What's up, everybody? My name is Brendan Harberts.
I'm Dalton Katz.
And I'm Lucas Marchand, the house call chiropractor here in Sioux Falls.
Welcome to the Workbench Podcast, episode number 4. What's going on, guys? Again, my name is Brendan Harberts.
And I'm Dalton Katz. This is the Workbench Podcast, where me and Brendan's friendship started in preschool at the Workbench at the station. So now we talk to interesting people about their work. Today, our guest is, Lucas. We'll let Lucas kind of introduce himself and what he does here.
Yeah, I'm Lucas Marchand. Like I said, I'm the house call chiropractor here in Sioux Falls, which means I travel to all my patients so I can treat them right in the comfort of their home or their office. And just delivering chiropractic care, literally, right to people. And that's what I do here in Sioux Falls.
That's awesome. That's a very unique business that you are the only person I've ever seen do that. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know anyone else that does that in Sioux Falls.
I can't say I'm the first person that's ever done a house call, but this is what I do, and I don't know of anyone in the state that does it. And I have a pretty good pulse on who's doing this around the country and the world right
I'm
now.
sure. So let's get right into it. What made you want to first go into being a chiropractor?
I didn't have a cool story like a lot of people do, like with their, like their parents are chiropractors. There's generational chiropractors. There's people that had a significant injury and then they went to a chiropractor and then they had great results. I was always into healthcare. I was going the med school route. But then I got into kind of alternative healthcare, if you want to call it that. I was getting into nutrition and that kind of stuff, and chiropractic just made sense for me. And I decided that as a sophomore in college. So I was pretty young when I decided to do it. So
I was going to say, did you grow up around here, Lucas?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
Went to Washington High School back in the day.
Okay, so like what experience, you didn't really have a set experience that really led you down the path.
My family's all like allopathic medicine, doctors in my family and dentists. And I thought I was going to do that. So I kind of straight away, I guess, if you want to call it that, and went into chiropractic. So it was kind of, nothing like that. We always went to the doctors for, ear infections or back pain or took a pill, that kind of stuff, so.
Yeah, and so I know there's a lot of people that right at the beginning there kind of probably had to rewind and be like, wait a minute, house call chiropractor. So obviously you got into chiropractic for various reasons,
Yes.
but what really made you want to not only start up your own practice, but start up the house call side of things and really take on that additional challenge that you hadn't maybe seen before?
I feel like my experience, and it's a lot of people's experiences, it wasn't like a perfect moment. It was something I kind of got thrown into. I started out of grad school as an associate doctor, just working in a clinic.
Where did you go to grad school?
Northwestern Health Sciences up in Minneapolis.
Nice.
Okay.
And then I went to Texas, was an associate there for a while, and you work kind of soul destroying hours, making like not very good money for your debt to income ratio is not very good when you're coming out of grad school, which is fair. It's kind of the cost of learning how to run a business and stuff. But then I decided, after all that, I wanted to not do this anymore and started my own practice up here in Sioux Falls. And house calls seemed like the easiest way to start up instead of taking out a bunch of bank loans and not ever running a business myself, and to see if I could at least get something going without, going into any further debt.
Yeah. So what made you want to come back to the market that was Sioux Falls and not stay where it was a little bit warmer?
Yeah, it was kind of more personal. My dad passed away in 2015.
Okay.
And then like a week before my dad passed away, my dog died.
Oh, Jesus.
And then a couple months later, my grandpa died. So it was kind of more of I needed to get back to kind of be closer to family. Like I said, I wasn't planning on starting a business. I thought maybe 5 years from then. So like 2020. Something like that.
You're a little out of schedule.
Yeah. And so yeah, it was just so I came back to Sioux Falls for that reason.
Okay.
So how long have you been doing it on your own?
Since 2016. I got back here like Christmas of 2015. Gotcha. And then I, got all the licensing stuff done early 2016.
So when people reach out to you for your services and not quite knowing you're a house call, like they come to you, what do they say? What have you ever had any funny occurrences with someone who say, "Well, I actually come into your house to do it"? Has anyone ever been like?
No, I mean, I've kind of come up with this. Not like I have a script, but it's just kind of a line that I say now because I just kind of let people know when they're calling me, because one of the things I also do is I'm open on the weekends when no one's open, and at night that's kind of how I built my practice. And so when they call me, I just let them know, like, well, I do house calls, which means I come, I come to you, and they're like, a lot of them are like, what? And how much is that? And I'm like, I understand it's not for everyone. I mean, I get someone could think you're some weird guy coming in my house and would you adjust me on the floor or something, but for the most part, people have been pretty accepting.
So, and so would you say that you benefited then from this somewhat of like a sharing economy that we've developed through like the Ubers of the world, things along those lines? I mean, we were discussing Rogan before the podcast, but I remember him discussing about how like 10 years ago, it would have been like the cardinal sin to send your teenage daughter in a car with a stranger. And now people are depositing thousands of dollars so that they use that as their primary mode of transportation.
People ask me like, you think with house calls, my population would be maybe elderly,
right?
People with disabilities. I can count on my one hand, here that people have called me in the last 4 years that are, in that
really
that demographic.
That's very interesting.
The average age is like, I think it was like 31.
Really?
Last time I checked. Pretty young.
Yeah.
A lot of like not teenagers, but like 21, 22.
That is very surprising.
Do you think there's a reason for that?
I think they're used to
having
stuff come to them. Like they're used to lifts and Amazon delivering stuff, and it's not strange at all.
I mean, I
don't know. I have no idea.
So take us through like how does the process go when you get to someone's house? Like tell everyone actually how the process goes.
Yeah. So we schedule consultation. And usually I do the consult over the phone because with house calls you never know what you're going into. It's one thing when you're coming onto my turf or whatever. But I almost have to screen people out in a way. Like I don't know if we'll be a good fit. And but for the most part, we do the consultation on the phone, and then I come to the home or the office, and we do an orthopedic exam. And then we go ahead and get treated. That first visit's typically about 40 minutes, sometimes an hour, and then follow-up visits if necessary are about 15 to 20 minutes.
Nice.
It's pretty simple. I have a table. I have all the equipment, e-stim. I do a lot of muscle work, some rehab, all the stuff you would really see in an office. I can bring to you other than like an x-ray or like a very, there's pretty much I can bring everything.
Right.
I was just going to ask, actually, both from your perspective and the client's perspective, do you see any advantages besides the obvious of people coming to your house or disadvantages that you've seen in your practice?
So doing house calls, the disadvantage would be the volume. When you're sitting in an office and people are coming to you, I mean, you can see a ton of people. I've worked in clinics that see 500 people, 600 people a week.
Right.
That's not really practical.
You have to take travel time everywhere.
Yeah. So that's a disadvantage. One of the other disadvantages is the constant changing of your environment. There is a benefit to because every time I go in, I have to set up the table. It's a new environment. It's a new, when people are coming into an office, it's like they're coming into your turf. They're on their best behavior because they're in someone else's home. So, I mean, that's the disadvantage, I would say.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That, and I guess from that perspective too, what have you run into any super awkward experiences that you can speak to, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I've had some for the most part, it's been really good, but I've had a couple hoarding situations where I'm going into kind of
there's no space to put my table.
Yeah, like a weird home, or there's been some I've been in some sketchy neighborhoods at night, and but that's contrasted with getting to maybe go backstage, and called up from a local event company because they have people that are coming into town that need, but then the next one could be in some sketchy neighborhood, and I'm in this really nice home. So it's all, it's cool. For the most part, it's been good. I haven't had any issues where I felt like I was unsafe or anything.
Well, that's good. We're very happy to hear that.
Yeah. Well, and I guess I just have a little bit of a follow-up question to that because, we talked about advantages to disadvantages of your practice, but then there's also going to be similar advantages and disadvantages to the actual established type practices. I think we've talked about this some off camera, but what would you say would be a disadvantage to, and maybe I'm leading the question, but a disadvantage to the volume aspect of things and really trying to just pump as many people through as possible?
Well, like I said, in those clinics that see like tons of like hundreds of people a week, you're really only getting like 3 to 5 minutes with the doctor,
Yeah.
typically, not even sometimes. And then maybe they have you do rehab with some of their other people or something, or that's it. Maybe you're just in there but you need more visits too. You need to do the 36 visit care plan potentially because you're only getting 5 minutes with a person.
Yeah.
Whereas with, when you're spending more time with someone, you can get a lot of work done per session, which keeps your care plan small. It might be a bit more expensive per session, but like, your time's valuable too. So you don't have to come here for 3 months. It might be just 3 weeks. And that's kind of the disadvantage of the volume.
Does insurance have any, I guess, play on that or any?
Yeah, it can lend itself to unsavory behavior sometimes with insurance plans. If you have a plan that allows for 20 visits in a year, with the $25 copay, there are some clinics that you're going to get 20 visits, whether or not you need 20, right away, or if you just need 3, just to kind of get you through because you had a long car trip or something. You just need a couple adjustments, get back in shape. So, there's that, and insurance does play a role in that.
Well, yeah, and I guess that was always a big thing. I had recently started using you as my personal chiropractor, and that was a big thing for me just because coming from a fitness, wellness, strength and conditioning background,
Yep.
I don't need 25 visits for a little ache in my back. I need some help, get me over this hump, give me some instruction, and then sporadic visits from there just to kind of maintain. But that was always my personal draw to your practice.
And that's kind of in my industry, there's kind of two philosophies, and we kind of diverge, and there's a lot of infighting, I suppose. And there's some people chiropractors that believe that chiropractic is like vital. It's like, you're gonna die if you don't get adjusted every. I'm not kidding. There's that, and there's people like me. I'm more of a pain clinic. Certainly, there's people that come in once a month for wellness. They just like getting adjusted. There is benefit to keeping the spine mobile and flexible, just like there's benefit to, you don't always need to be competing for a powerlifting meet and training for something, but you need to maintain your strength. And then when you want to go at it, you go at it,
So besides the obvious, you have a unique business plan. What else would you say sets your practice apart? Because there's a lot of chiropractors in Sioux Falls. What do you personally believe sets you apart?
I guess I spend like I said, with the house calls, I spend quite a bit more time with my patients, do a lot of work. I'm not like doing anything like cutting edge per se. The unique thing I would say, there's a lot of great chiropractors in Sioux Falls. I'd say the unique thing I have is the availability on the weekends. If there was an office that was open on Saturdays and Sundays, that would, I think there'd be a lot of people into that because people just can't get off.
That's when they have time.
Yeah, they work 9 to 5, and
Right.
that's ironically that's when the clinics are open, is 9 to 5.
Right.
Well, they can't get in 3 times a week, to do that. So just that's what's unique about me. And people text me. I'm like their personal chiropractor. It's like, so they just text and say, hey, you available today, or you got any openings this weekend? So it's like I have some people on my Snapchat, they add me on there, and so it's just kind of unique. Like it's very boutique, and I really go deep with my patients. So it's kind of cool that way, I guess. So
That's awesome. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, yeah, no, I was just going to say, I guess, because I've been a personal trainer in the past, and one of the things that you can find is that you want to be flexible, you want to be available for the people that you serve and that are paying you money. How do you find the time to balance your personal life in there and find any time for yourself? Or are you just like...
I kind of always do this, but it's kind of like a lifestyle. Like I said, I'm not in an office. So like if my hours are 7 a.m. till 9 p.m., 7 days a week. But right now I could be getting a call. I put it on airplane mode. They might know, or if I was to answer, I'd say, well, I'm not available right now, but I do have something opening this evening at 6. If I'm out doing something I want to do, it's not like someone can just waltz in and say, hey, I just called you. Now I see you at the mall.
Hey, you got your table with you by
lied
chance?
to me. Like,
No, I don't. Sorry.
so it's not too bad. Whereas if you're in an office and you have hours, you kind of have to sit there, whether you're busy or not. So,
absolutely. The people probably add you on Snapchat so they can pull the Snapchat maps and be like, "Where is he? Is he close to me?"
No, I said it like so people can't see me, like that. But yeah, it's kind of. I was on that the other day. I was like, it's kind of creepy. Like I know where people are at.
I can't stand that. I'm like, I don't want people knowing.
Especially
where I'm at.
because you have so many of those people that you just offhandedly add and kind of forget that they're even there, and you're like, why do I let this person see where I'm at all times?
Yeah. So.
What would you say has been the biggest challenge so far with starting your own business?
Well, starting business is tough. In general, it's like you got to move from obscurity to ubiquity. That's the hardest thing. Is like you just got to get people to hear about you. Right. And I think that's the reason why most businesses fail. It's not that they have a bad idea per se. I mean, some people have bad ideas, I suppose, but I mean, it's just they just didn't get enough new customers or users or listeners or clients, and so the hardest part is getting the marketing, down. First thing, in my opinion, is get your marketing down. Once you solve your marketing problem, you got a steady flow of customers or whatever. Then you got a sales problem because maybe you're getting enough people, but maybe you're not charging appropriately. Maybe you're not whatever. So then you got to figure out the sales problem, and and then eventually you hire people, and then you got to become employer, and that's the highest level in my opinion. So the hardest part for me was the marketing, and especially with house calls, you don't have that natural walk-in traffic with a brick and mortar, and it's kind of an obscure business model. Like, I mean, some people, they're used to what they're used to. There's a reason top 40 is popular. And even though people want to listen to variety on the radio, they say they do. They don't. They want to listen to the songs they like.
No. Right.
Well,
So,
it kind of goes along with the same thing why most people won't walk into a new restaurant by themselves without somebody wanting or somebody that's been there before.
They need that recommendation. They need to see it packed there. I mean, and try to get that's the early adopters that might go to that stuff.
Yeah.
But most people aren't those people. So
how big are referrals for your business?
Like 68% of my practice is referrals.
Wow.
I crunch the numbers, and then the rest is mostly just because I'm open. And then I dabbled with some Facebook ads here and there earlier this year, and but most of it's referrals.
Yeah, I was going to say you're kind of in line. Last time we had Brady Daly on the podcast, and he's a pretty innovative marketer in town here himself. I know that you do some pretty creative stuff. So like, what's your mindset when you're going into marketing your business at the same time? What's your overall mindset? What are you thinking about? What's the goal?
Well, when I started, like, I wanted to get this thing going as quickly as possible. So I deliberately, like, you want to create something that's like worth mentioning. So the house call aspect, that is worth mentioning, I suppose. But then, like, I priced myself like super low, where people are like, "What? Like, what? Are you serious? Can my wife and like my kids get and then they're telling everyone, and you got to build. I've tried to build marketing into the product or service as much as you can, so it kind of speaks for itself. And South Dakota is kind of restrictive what you can do with marketing. You have to be really you got to be a bit more savvy. You can't just throw up a big discount. That's not legal in our state. You can't say normally something's $200, now it's $50. So you got to be a little bit more savvy. Old school chiropractors will go to like expos and have a booth, and they'll do the chair massage. You might have seen that stuff. I don't really like doing that. I mean, it sends the wrong message. I'm not a massage therapist. So a lot of it took time, and my social media, I think, is a lot of it. So I don't know if I really have anything unique per se that I do.
Well, and I guess from that perspective, though, too, you mentioned your social media, something I don't know that a ton of people know that you do, but you're part of a fairly large, or you actually control the group.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where it's a fairly large just house call group. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Can you explain that a little bit?
It's a house call chiropractors forum. I literally started it for free advice from and I only knew like one other guy, and he found me on YouTube or something, and he was an older gentleman. He's like, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing house calls," and he's like kind of coming out of retirement just to have some side income, and and that's the only person I knew. So I had to add him just to create a group because you have to have two people to create a group. And then I just slowly kind of recruited people that I found on Google. And now it's grown to, I think, a little over 1,500 people on there around the country, around
Or
the
is it
world.
purely chiropractors then in the group?
Yeah,
or-
we've had some MDs that want to get in there and physios and massage therapists, but we kind of have a strict rule with just chiropractors so we can keep the content really focused. So yeah.
How would you say that's maybe benefited your practice here in town then, from hearing from people in a similar position to you all over the country?
A lot. I mean, because people see, I never I get a lot of people calling me asking what advice because they look at me like, well, this guy's the guy that started it.
Your place of authority.
I know something, but I never like to give prescriptions. I like to just say, here's my experience. I can't tell you what's going to work for you in Denver or, Baltimore or wherever you're at.
Well, everyone's different.
Yeah. And
You know,
they have
every patient-
different backgrounds and personalities.
Different clientele they deal
yeah.
with. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a lot of it's just a sounding boards. Like, did I handle this right with this patient? How should I handle pricing and marketing and how, all policies, all these things. And there's a lot of engagement on there, like a ton, so, and it's helped me a lot because I can read some of this stuff, get some feedback, try it in mine, and then, share it, and then, try it again, share something else. And that's what a lot of people do.
Well, it's just kind of funny that you, self-admittedly started it somewhat for selfish purposes, but it's ended up being such a benefit to other people and yourself that it just continues to grow. It's very interesting.
Well, and I think that's something that's changed a lot since I've graduated, because I graduated in the fall of 2014 from Chiro school. And then I spent a year as, an associate. And then, so this is my fourth year of business. But since I graduated, the Facebook groups, I don't know what your guys' experience are and things you're in. They've really taken off the last several years.
Completely agree.
When I was first coming out, they didn't have these things where people could actually talk to each other about their experiences in whatever field they're in. You had to hire a coach, or you had to work for someone or work in the industry to kind of get, figure out what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's there's so much free information on YouTube and on Facebook groups that, it's kind of rendering some of these consulting agencies not really worth it. Other than maybe the the accountability aspect, at least in my profession,
So what would you say, 4 years in business, that's nothing to scoff at, because what is this statistic? 67, I think I saw it on your Facebook the other day, actually, 67% of businesses don't last beyond 2 years.
Yep.
So I guess maybe a two-part question, but what would you say has been your biggest learning curve? And if you could tell young Lucas anything at this point, just starting out, what would you tell him right now?
So I would tell myself to keep grinding. It's frustrating when you first start out and you look at your sales and you only had 5 transactions.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, man, did I make the right decision here? But a lot of it's just, can you financially stick around long enough so you can garner that word of mouth? Because that's what it takes in the service industry, is a lot of it's word of mouth. And just to stick around is, and it'll get better. It's, I know you hear that Gary Vaynerchuk stuff and grinding and stuff, but there's some truth to it. If you can stick around, that's the key. That's what I would tell myself.
How has the industry changed from when you first got into it to now, or has it? You haven't been in for super long, but
yeah, I think it's changed with the Facebook groups a lot. That's a big, social media has really taken off. There's a whole subculture on YouTube where people like to watch people getting adjusted.
Yeah, I've watched.
It's kind of weird. And
I've watched.
Sometimes it's even again, it's unsavory. It's these Instagram models getting adjusted. It's we know what you're doing, buddy.
That gets the views.
Well, and I saw there's one guy that just he has the whole page full of people he can crack to make real loud noises, and just at a certain point, does everybody make that noise, or are you forcing that? I don't know.
Yeah. So the social media has really taken off. In insurance, that's a big one. It's been dwindling for, I think, all fields the last several years, but deductibles are increasing. So a lot of practices they're basically just a out of pocket or cash style practice because they got $3,000 deductibles, so they're just paying their copay, so yeah, I think insurance and social media have been the biggest thing. in my experience so far.
And so do you deal with insurance at all, I guess?
I don't. No.
Okay.
No. Which is nice. I mean, one of the things is I feel like insurance effectively raises the cost of doing business in a way. You got these hyperinflated fees because you have to have a billing person to bill, all these codes that you're sending out. You have all this admin activity. Insurance might deny this claim. They might give you that claim. They might not. They said they're going to pay this much, but they're only going to pay like 50% of that. So you almost hyperinflate your fees so you can at least get something that you might be some scraps that you might be happy with. And so with what I do is like I can charge what I want, and also like if you think a patient really needs something and insurance doesn't think that, or they're not going to pay for it, then you can't bill them for that, and it might be something that's kind of expensive. So like I said, it lends itself to, again, unsavory. I've heard, and this isn't even bad, I've heard people, they have to fudge the diagnose or the codes that they're billing just to get them a massage or somehow.
No, geez.
Or get them like something they need, just so the person can get what they need, because insurance is kind of like dictating what kind of care you can do.
Well, and there's a certain point where regulation protects a patient and then hinders the ability to give a good product out.
Absolutely. There's a balance, because you have to protect the patient, because like I said, there are unsavory practices out there in every industry. But at the same time, it can kind of work on the other end too and kind of backfire.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things, I guess, since we're not too far out of the marketing discussion there, that we really wanted to kind of ask you, and it's kind of been a theme that we're asking everybody, but meth, we're on it. I mean, what's your view on it? Do you have a feeling about it when it came out? Have you changed your mind at all?
I haven't really changed my mind. I mean, if the whole point was awareness, I suppose
everyone
people
knows
are
about
aware.
It. Everyone knows about it.
So they got an A on awareness. But I talked to someone who's kind of works for the state and has done campaigns and stuff, and they were talking about another one. It was about like depression or something, and and it was very nice spread, and like factual, very clean, and crickets.
Right.
They spent a lot of money, and
it's a great campaign, but no one saw it.
Yeah, no one cared. I mean, people, they care about the depression, but it's like not enough. It's like when you see those ASPCA commercials with the dog in the kennel.
Oh yeah, it's like I don't even want to look at this.
It's almost like it doesn't cause you to act. Like it's because you don't want to see it, and
it just makes you sad.
Yeah, where this almost like, at least I suppose people are tweeting it and sharing it. I don't know, it's kind of a joke, I suppose. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to think. Like, I don't know how they could have handled that properly. Some things I do think about is they could have probably hired a South Dakota company.
Yeah, I was a little thrown off when I saw they outsourced to a Minnesota agency. I was kind of like, I literally could have made that up without being serious. I would have been like, man, we're on it.
Yeah, I'll charge half the price for it. Too.
Yeah, I'll accept $250,000 for this one, or fine.
Yeah. I saw a Facebook meme. It was like the state of Minnesota, and it was like, meth, they're on it. But I was like, well, I wanted to respond because I was kind of mad. I was like, well, a company out of your state made it. So
gosh, that just blew my mind when I saw that.
I don't know. I didn't think it was kind of a flop, but as a politician or someone in that camp, like, you never apologize. That's a rule, it seems. In
the rules of power.
Yeah.
This is why it actually made sense.
This is why it is like in like one of the 48 laws of power or whatever. Like, you never apologize for
and even for death or something like that. I can't remember it.
Yeah. So
crazy. So anyways, getting back on topic with you and your business of sorts, starting out for someone, what are 3 things you would tell someone that is either considering getting into chiropractic, doing what you do, or is already starting? What are 3 things you would tell them?
Let's see here. If they're starting their own business, or like,
sure. Well, and I guess maybe to provide some additional context for you, the reason why we like to ask this question to pretty much everybody, because when me and Brendan grew up in a smaller town. We felt like we didn't have all the opportunities put in front of us. It was basically you went to be a doctor, lawyer, or worked in the machine shop for the rest of your life. Yep. So provide some context to maybe some younger kids watching this, even an adult looking to make a move. What would you tell them before going into chiropractic or pursuing that route?
Yeah, I mean, One of the things I would tell people, like we always ask kids in general, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Which is not a great question. Because it's
They have no idea.
well, that they don't know what they want, but it's like they're gonna give you the socially proper
Right.
answer. Teacher. Oh yeah, everyone can get on board with that, or a doctor, lawyer. But instead, like you ask, what kind of lifestyle do you want?
Right.
Like, do you want to travel? Is that something you value? Then I don't know why you'd want to work in a corporate job where you're gonna work 70 hours a week. Because you're not gonna, well, you might travel a lot, but it's gonna be work. Or you want, a lot of free time. Do you like autonomy? Do you like to, maybe you need to be an entrepreneur because you just cannot handle like taking orders from someone else, so for someone going into chiropractic school, I mean, I'd tell them to, yeah, it's tough. Grad school is really tough. They'll weed you out. And with that, the chiropractic industry is a really difficult business. You really have to love it. And there's like, it only seems like there's three options if you come out of grad school or chiropractic schools. Like you work for someone, or you start your own business, or you can be like an independent contractor. So, I mean, whatever those three things fit your lifestyle goals or whatever, I mean, so just consider those and know that associates really don't get paid that well unless you're kind of on a commission. And then you can get paid pretty well. And then being a business owner, you see some of the top people. I know some of them are multimillionaires. But it's not all, not everyone's like that. There's some that are in business and, they're doing okay, but they're not that, and there's some that are struggling in business. So you just got to understand what you want in life, and sometimes I'll admit, I think sometimes I went on to grad school to kind of deny responsibility, like, oh, I haven't figured it out in the last 4 years in undergrad, or 4 years to figure out what I want to do.
And
in
I
my
still
life,
know school.
Let's be honest, I mean, you get those people that are like, they got like 5 PhDs and it's like, well, I guess you don't have to pay on your student loans because you're always a full-time student.
They prefer to identify as lifelong learners.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not, to, talk down to those people, but like, yeah, I think sometimes there's that aspect too. I was like, do you really want to go to grad school? Think about it and, become a doctor or whatever, a lawyer, or are we just trying to, we haven't figured it out yet for ourselves, And there's cheaper ways to do it.
A little bit.
Well, and I think I know which direction you were going with this, but can you elaborate on what you mean by, I guess, chiropractic is a tough business to be in?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, Sioux Falls, there's a lot of, the schools churn out a lot of chiropractors. The cost of tuition is going up. The reimbursement is going down from insurance. The market is getting saturated. And so that's a lethal combination. Cost is going up. Your pay is going down. There's too many of them coming into the market. Like, I mean, that's like
not a good algorithm right there.
For anybody who's run a business, that's easy math. Right?
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, I mean, that's why I'd say it's pretty tough. Once you find a niche or once you get going, get some momentum, but it takes time. You can like build a practice pretty quick. I know how clinics do it. I mean, you're hustling. You're out there doing spinal screenings and marketing, and you're getting like 20, 30 patients a week, new ones, but you got to convert them to the big care plans. Those are the ones that are doing the $3,000 care plans. I mean,
the profit margin isn't in the first few, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that that's not unnecessary. Some people might need, if they've had stuff for 10 years, they might need 3 months worth of care. But someone like you guys are like health advocates and fitness guys, you guys probably don't. You do plenty of stuff on your own with mobility work,
I try
exercise and whatnot.
Do our best.
We say that, but I mean, is it actually happening?
Well, and I guess speaking of fitness, I thought that's kind of the direction you were going there. And I guess I kind of relate that to the fitness, wellness, personal training, strength and conditioning field in the sense that it's almost become commoditized, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Do you worry about that with chiropractic, and how do you think that the industry can avoid that?
I mean, it kind of is a commodity. When there's like I don't know how many here in Sioux Falls, there's at least 150 licensed chiropractors.
There's 150?
I'd say at least. I'd have to like ask and because I mean, I even looked up the separate businesses one time and I Googled them all, and I just kind of went down the list. I thought I was counting I was getting into 50, 60, 70, 80.
Then you just gave up. It's like there's too many of these.
Like a lot of
and
them.
that's just the ones listed on Google, probably.
Right.
Yep. And almost you'd be better off. I shouldn't say you'd be better off because it's different going to a small town when there's like, like there might not be much to do. You're not in like Minneapolis or Sioux Falls or Omaha, but like you're kind of the only person,
Yeah.
for 20 miles, like,
Yeah.
and that's your drawing radius. I mean,
We had that in Rock Valley for the longest time. We only had one person and he did fine.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
there's 3 or 4 now.
Is there 3 or 4 now?
Which is crazy. It's a
I
population
saw
of under
Larchwood
3,000.
had like 2 one time.
Yeah, Larchwood.
I was like,
Which
really?
maybe now works with Grand Falls there.
Oh,
that's
maybe,
fair.
but
Maybe.
Yeah.
who knows? That's wild, though. I mean, Rock Valley is under 3,000 people yet,
Yeah.
so it's
The general rule, like I remember out of school, is you want like a 1 to 1,500.
okay.
Well, Sioux Falls is kind of right at that then with
Yeah.
we're,
So it's
we're close.
close.
To that.
I mean, it's not like I said, you have to have something unique. And I think and to grow your practice or any business is you got to expand your capacity to handle people. Again, house calls, I can't really handle a lot of volume, so I'm kind of cutting myself.
And are you a
down there.
one-man show then? You
I
do
am.
all the books? You
Yep.
do? Okay.
Yep. Well, I have my accountant do that.
Oh.
I'm so risk averse. I just like, hey, you take care of it. I don't care if I'm losing money, like per se. I just want to make sure it's taken care of. I don't want to gut the government coming
The
after
peace
me.
of mind is
Yeah.
more than worth it for you.
It's more valuable to me. But I'm all a one-man show, and you know where we're going with that.
Hey, it
Yeah.
doesn't really matter at this point. But
Yeah.
I guess we had asked you, 3 things that you would tell somebody wanting to go into chiropractic.
Oh yeah,
But I know that you do a lot of extracurricular reading. I'm friends with you on Facebook,
Yep.
so I selfishly know all this.
yeah,
But I know that you do a lot of extracurricular reading about just business management, things like that in
Mhm.
general.
Mhm.
Is there any advice you would offer just anybody in general wanting to start their own business,
Mhm.
maybe on a more higher surface level? Anything
Yeah.
else you might in general say?
I was kind of nervous about like I'm not a good networker. Like I'm good one-on-one, but I think that's something I would probably redo. I would go back. I'm not necessarily doing. You have to do the BNIs or that stuff. But if you're good at it, go for it. The more people I think you can meet and hand a card to, I feel like if you can hand out 500 business cards a month, tell people who you are, what you do, and why you do it, I think you're gonna generate at least 20 new clients. I mean, that's 17 people a day. You're gonna get probably at least 20 new people or
Per month.
calls, and that's just on the low, and that's just you just throwing your name out there. So I would say someone wanting to start their business is get your name out there. Obviously have a Facebook page, have a website if you can. I mean, it's not that expensive anymore. Like you can get a Wix website and a domain name pretty affordable. Meet as many people as you can, and like really just understand like you just got to stay the course. I mean, unless you're losing money and like really bad and like you're like not be able to pay your bills, like it takes time, and it takes about like 2 years, 3 years is when I really started feeling like I was getting momentum. I'm only 4 years in,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm
So
like,
did you? I mean, I'm assuming I know the answer to this, but did you doubt yourself at all along the way?
Oh
as you
yeah,
were-
yeah, a lot. I mean, I was like, I had some really dark thoughts there for a while there. I got really down. But I have too much pride too. That's kind of the perk of pride's not a good thing, but I have too much pride to quit.
Yeah.
So I just kept going, even though it might have been stupid. And I kind of got lucky.
Hey, it worked out, right?
It lucked out there.
Is
It
that
worked
built
out.
into you? That kind of pridefulness, not ever giving up, or was that instilled in you as something? I know you have a history in sports as well,
Yeah.
college football and things, but
Yeah. Well, I quit college football. That's the end. So I mean,
Okay, bad example.
yeah, so, but
well,
like,
maybe not the best. But
Where'd you play college? Where'd you play
I
college?
played at Wayne State College.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's
just,
cool.
Yeah, just kind of by Vermilion there.
Mhm.
But no, like I don't know, like for what the business, it's almost like I put so much energy and effort into this that and people, I put my name out there and people know who I am in terms of hey, this is what he does. And if someone found out that I got out of the business because I failed, or like it was, that's more of a pride thing. Like it's more of a, like I'd be embarrassed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, football is more like a practicality. It's like I'm a D2 football player. I'm not going to the league. Like
You never know.
like I mean, it's like you got to put in a lot of work in college sports.
Right. It takes a lot of your time
At
too.
any level, yeah.
Is
Yeah,
it
time
really going to be
commitment.
worth it at the end
Yeah,
of the 4 years?
so and that was kind of my attitude with that. But no, like, so with business, it's like you just can't quit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I see you all the time in the Great Life gyms. I like always see you walking out over at 69 Southeastern and stuff. Do you like talk to a lot of people while you're in there about what you do? And do you get a lot of people from the gyms?
Ironic? Well, not ironic. It's not ironic. The smaller gym, like when I go to the little satellite ones,
Yeah.
like that you used to work
Yeah.
at, like I people are more talkative there. It seems.
I agree.
When you go to like the D1 facility, or I don't really go to the Wood Lake one. People are more. They get their headphones on.
A little more there for a purpose as opposed to talking and community aspect of it.
Yeah, and but I also find that I get better workouts at the smaller gyms.
Everyone probably leaves you alone.
Huh?
Everyone probably leaves you alone.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw like whereas, but like no, so at the big Great Life, I don't think I mean, I drive my vehicle there, so people probably see my decals on there or whatever. But I think I kind of have this resting, whatever.
The resting, don't talk to me
face, and you throw the headphones on top of it.
Right.
And so I don't think I'm the most approachable person when I'm not talking.
Hey, when you're in there, you got to get your workout, and I get it. Like sometimes it's just nice to be left alone.
Yeah. Right. Well, and along those same fitness lines, I mean, I think I would say fitness is fairly important to all three of us here. And obviously chiropractic works pretty hand in hand somewhat with health, wellness, fitness, everything of the above. How would you say those two industries have complemented each other? And on the flip side, how have they potentially hurt each other?
I think, they go hand in hand. It's a great analogy when I'm trying to tell people that, hey, you wouldn't eat just one salad and have 6-pack abs, just like one visit. You might get great and you might feel really good after an adjustment, depending on how you present. But like, so I always use the fitness industry as an analogy. You're not going to get stronger, like, as strong, like benching 315 when you never benched before. You have to put some time and effort into it. And that's the body responds to time, frequency, and intensity. And it's the same with chiropractic. Sometimes people need more time. And some people are like in bodybuilding or something. They're just genetic freaks and they don't need to, they just get results really quick. And some people it takes forever. And so in chiropractic, some people respond really well to chiropractic and some people they don't, or it takes a lot longer. So I think from an analogy perspective, I use it a lot. And then I don't know if can't even think of a reason why they would hurt each other than people thinking that they don't need to go to a physio or a chiropractor because they do yoga or something. Or
my yogi teacher,
they do enough, on their own or something. So I'd say that's the only thing. There's not too much that we compete against,
Well, and I guess, and this is something that behind the scenes, me and you have talked about in the past too, but there's a lot of misconceptions, especially surrounding fitness. I think it was a year, maybe a few years ago now. I'm such a Rogan junkie, but he had a gal on who I can't even find the name of anymore, who did her best to basically pick up the chiropractic industry and drag it through the mud.
Yeah.
I'm assuming,
I haven't watched that episode because I'm like, I feel like I'd get mad.
Which is probably true because I
probably should. Like, I need to expose myself to this stuff.
But Joe does have a way of making things interesting, but he's not always double checking his facts with all the scientific literature. What would you say might be some misconceptions surrounding chiropractic? Well,
from what I could gather when I did hear the little thing that Joe talked about his chiropractor that he went to, and I think he spent a lot of money and a lot of time. And again, it goes back to the differences between different chiropractors. In the healthcare industry, like the allopats, they kind of have a system that they all do. Well, we're all like kind of fragmented. You have to pass boards and get through school, but you're all entrepreneurs trying to build your own practice and make your own money. You're not working for a multi-billion-dollar hospital corporation that's going to pay you a salary. So he probably kind of ran into the one that was just trying to, maybe string them along with some money. I don't know. And with the endless visits and maybe not even knowing like, hey, this is out of my league. I'm going to refer this to my colleague over here. Like I do that all the time. Like, I'm pretty good with back pain and neck pain, headaches. And I can do some muscle work for a rotator cuff or hamstring, but I send everyone to my chiropractor, Cassandra, because she does active release techniques. So it's like anyone that I think needs some of that stuff, it's like, okay, go check her out. This is her office. Or if I think they need a massage and I got a good massage gal and it's deep tissue, like, so you just got to know your boundaries. And I think with Joe Rogan's issue with his chiros, you just got a bad apple, and it's like a box of chocolates with chiropractic.
Right.
Sometimes you just don't know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
That's any industry. I mean,
Yeah.
you can say that for any single
Especially the
person
more
that you hire
saturated
someone.
it gets and people
Absolutely.
wanting to make a name for themselves, they're going to be doing some crazier stuff.
The more people that do something, the more people that are not good at it are going to be exposed, unfortunately.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I guess, and maybe along those lines too, I just want to ask you kind of a silly question, I guess, but it's perfectly fine for me to get adjusted and then do nothing else until my next visit, right?
Like, what do you mean?
Well, I guess I know so many people who, they'll use an excuse for maybe why they haven't worked out because, well, I just went to the chiropractor. I don't want to ruin it.
Yeah.
Or I hurt myself while I'm working out. So now I go to the chiropractor and now I should be fixed, right? I mean, I don't have to come back. I don't, or do I have to come back 30 times, and it kind of falls into that. But
a lot of it's miscommunication. And so, I mean, I think, what you're saying is like if you work out and you hurt yourself or whatever, then you went to the chiropractor and like you never have to go back again or whatever. It's like it's an ongoing process. You need to maintain. And like if you have a vehicle and something big goes out, it's a big expense and it's takes more time. But you still need to change the oil on a newer vehicle. You need to fill it up with gas. You need to rotate the tires or change them and maintain it, so you don't have to go as intense, like I said, with your powerlifting thing, but you need to kind of stay up to date on things.
And it's kind of interesting. The more, I guess, smaller maintenance costs you can accrue along the way, probably the more you can save yourself from those larger expenses.
Yeah, but that's not how people think. People they just don't think long term like that. They think now.
So I guess do you find that challenging then to communicate that to people, or is that a big challenge in trying, I guess maybe to rephrase my question, how much of an education component goes into what you do?
So my exams, I'm explaining everything that I go through and I'm telling them my recommendations, but a lot of people don't listen to it. Like they just they get adjusted and then they never follow up. And I don't know. And like, I'll text them and they'll say, "Hey, I feel great. Thanks." Even though I told them, okay, might take 1 to 3 sessions because 2 weeks from now, you're going to call me again or 3 weeks from now. But then there's other chiros, they do a whole like day 1, day 2 process where it's like, it's more of a sales process in my opinion, but like they're doing a lot of educating. I think the more expensive something is, the more educating you're going to need to do. Whereas a lot of people are calling me, I think it's like almost like a one-off. Like they just want to get adjusted and move on. So,
well, most times people just really want to get one thing out of you. And at that point, once they get that thing, they thank you for your service.
Yeah.
I mean, can move on now.
I feel like I understand people like, I understand the wellness aspect, but you guys know, as like being in the fitness industry, people want to get like ripped now. Like shredded like in like
it'll
4
take a few
weeks.
years. No, I got a month to go on vacation. Can I get shredded quick? No.
Yeah, it's like,
why haven't I lost 100 pounds in 6 weeks?
Or they want to bulk up and then they turn like they get really fat.
Oh yeah,
they
dirty bulk.
I've done that a few times. I made that mistake. I'm not gonna lie.
I need that protein. I need that pizza.
Like a mass gainer shake, a protein shake, and then a whole pizza when I get
So
home.
I mean, it's just people just want things a lot faster than
That's just everything we do in society now, though, is instant gratification.
Yeah.
Everything comes that quickly. And it's like,
Yeah.
if we don't get something right away or don't hit that goal right, I can even tell that with me with stuff. It's like, relax, chill, just let the process happen.
That's why like Tom Brady's so phenomenal, because like I always describe him, he's like the aggregation of he's not the most talented guy. He's like aggregation of very marginal gains, going to sleep on time, eating the right foods, figuring out, like he's nuts. And like, it's just little. And sometimes people look at the macros, like, and I don't literally mean macro protein fat, but like that is a component, but they're not getting all the little detail micro things that could actually be holding them back. They're looking at the big things like, oh, I need to do 2 hours of cardio every day so I can lose this weight really fast. It's like, oh, there's a lot of other things you can be doing.
Right. And those micro things are a lot of times what allows you to continue to do the big macro things, because otherwise you just get so overwhelmed and burnt out with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Along those lines, you've been in business for 4 years now.
Mhm.
You've talked about how you didn't really plan this step. So at this point in your life, I know plans can obviously change, so we won't hold you to it. But what are you working on right now? What's Lucas got going on over the next few years?
Really just keep building this business. I'm totally 100% focused on my practice right now. I have no not looking into another side hustle and anything right now. It's really just keep growing this.
Not a whole lot of hobbies, you're saying?
Yeah, I don't really have any. It's weird. It's embarrassing actually when people ask me what I do.
I feel like you're facing this realization now. All of a sudden, you're like,
no, I'm like,
man, I really don't do anything else besides work.
And but it's not even. It's something I love to do, and but yeah, I don't have cool hobbies let some of my friends go hiking or rock climbing or whatever. I was like, I don't really have any cool hobbies or projects I'm working on per se.
Maybe that could be a 5-year goal, is to get more hobbies.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe I need more hobbies.
Well, I guess that's personally why I've always enjoyed talking to you, though, because I feel like one of your hobbies is just learning more about business.
I do like to read. My book, I feel like Ty Lopez or something. I got all these books in a garage.
A book a day.
Here in my garage.
Did you drive up in your Lambo?
I don't have a Lambo though. Maybe that's my goal. That's what I'm working on. There
you go. That will get attention in Sioux Falls.
Getting to the Lambo and doing house calls.
The roads in Sioux Falls are perfect for it.
And then getting decals on that, right?
Yeah. That'd
putting a wrap on it. I mean, that would definitely get some attention.
Yeah.
So I gotta ask 2 questions. 1, what's the farthest away you've gone for an appointment? And 2, what is the most inconvenient time you've ever been called for an appointment?
Furthest, I go to Del Rapids and I go to Hartford. I've gotten calls from Sioux City and
wow.
Hey, do you know where I'm from?
Hey, I'm in South Dakota. I'm not licensed to practice in Iowa.
Oh, I suppose I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Hey, the price is right. I'll fly to Japan. And,
just pay my flight ticket, please.
He can be bought.
But so that's the furthest. That means Del Rapids. So down and back, maybe 50 miles or whatever. Yeah, it's pretty. But a lot of people are surprised that I go to Hartford or Del Rapids or Lennox.
Well, it's an hour round trip. It's gonna take you time to get there. So.
Yeah. And then, I get, like I said, I get people that text me on a Saturday night at 10. And I've got, what really makes me mad is usually those aren't my good patients. These are just kind of random people. And I'll get them scheduled, and then I'll get there, and it's 10 o'clock on a Saturday, 9 o'clock in the evening, and they ghost me,
Oh, that would make me mad.
It really makes me mad.
How do they ghost you at their house?
I'm knocking on their door. I'm at the right place. I'm 100% sure. And then they won't answer their call or the text.
Oh man.
That would be horrible.
And that's the risk you take, because I don't keep cards on file like Lyft, where it's I'll just run your card anyway.
Right.
I just don't do that. But if someone does that, even if it's a current patient of mine, if it becomes a habit, they just become, they're just on the bottom of my scheduling priority in the future. I don't kick them out of my practice.
Do you have time this week? Nope.
I might be just sitting there and watching a football game. Nope. So.
And you got to value your own time, but maybe on a more positive note, what would you say? You mentioned, I was going to say we were getting a little negative. No, I'm just kidding. But you had mentioned, you had done some other cool stuff in regards to your practice. What would you say the coolest experience you've had since starting this out was?
Well, the coolest things, I got invited by the Florida Chiropractic Association to go speak down there. They had a forum. It's the biggest chiropractic event in the world, apparently.
Wow.
It was 5,000 chiropractors that come there, and it was really cool to go down there, and that the fact that house calls are starting to penetrate the market this much now, especially with that forum that I have, it's starting to become more of a normal thing. Whereas when I started, house calls was not relevant, and it's still compared to the rest of the chiropractors, it's still irrelevant, I should say, but it's growing at a good clip. So being able to have that opportunity to go speak down in Florida was kind of cool.
That's really cool. Were you nervous at all to speak in front of those people?
No, it wasn't too bad, because like I said, this is all I do.
Right.
This is all I think about. There's nothing that really you've actually thrown me off with some of your questions.
That's our goal.
That's what I like to do.
but most of the stuff I haven't. I wasn't too worried about, so it was fun.
Well, yeah, no, and I guess from that perspective too, I'm just like, doesn't public speaking come naturally to you? I guess.
No. Oh my God, no.
I was gonna say because like
Good answer.
I go back and forth on my views on how I would feel about public speaking, but like, how big of a crowd were you talking in front of?
Oh, this wasn't like 5,000 people by any means.
Okay.
I wasn't at a
Oh,
TED
I
Talk.
thought you were talking to five. I was like, dude, you were playing this very cool for being in front of 5,000 people.
No. The whole
kind of threw me off
the
for a
whole
second.
expo. The whole expo is about 5,000, and that room is probably like 50.
Okay, that makes a little more sense, but
Yeah, no. I would be that would
you're
terrify
like
me.
Dwight Schrute, just pounding your fists on the table.
Yeah, if I like, see, and that's what would scare. Even like in a, bunch of strangers, and if I had to go in and do like a health talk in front of 20 people, like I get a little nervous because there's a beginning and a middle and an end. Or like this is kind of a Q&A. If there's people watching this, I'm totally fine with, because like there's structure, but it's not. I'm not responsible for the structure per se.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is, and I'm good one-on-one with people, but like, yeah, I remember in middle school we had to do how to do something for our speech class or whatever, and I was like putting something together, and I was just like this, and all my things that I had were just fumbling all over the place. I really hate public speaking.
That's very
Yeah.
interesting. It's
Yeah.
kind of interesting though. Once you find that passion, it
Yeah.
seems to get a little bit easier to talk
it's
about
like-
something you're
Like
comfortable.
videos too, probably on YouTube. My very first video on Facebook was looking around and ums and ahs, and I mean, it's kind of embarrassing. Then you get like 100 of them in, or a couple hundred of them in, you're like pretty comfortable.
Right, it
on
gets a lot
camera,
easier. And if when you're always continuing learning, and when you're really passionate about something and very knowledgeable, you realize how easy it is to talk about something once you find your rhythm with how you talk about it.
Yeah.
Well, shoot, yeah, you could say we're right in the middle of that learning curve right now, episode 4
Yeah,
right now. So, I
episode
mean,
4.
we'll probably look back on this very episode, hopefully have you back in the future and
Yeah.
look back on this one and make
Hopefully
fun
I've
of
got
it.
some hobbies by then.
2 things: a hobby and a Lambo.
Hobby and Lambo. That's
We're holding you to it.
I'm setting a timer in my phone for 2025.
We're having the next podcast in Lucas's Lambo for those who are wondering.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Lucas, thank you so much for being on the show here today. Please let everyone know where they can contact you at.
Yeah. I mean, you can just call or text, literally 605-201-4862. I mean, I'm on Facebook too. My Cairo LLC. Instagram's My Cairo Sioux Falls. I like Instagram. I'm on there a lot. I get a lot of people message me on there, so that's fine too. And you can contact me just about anywhere.
And I can personally attest to this. Lucas is one of the best in the industry. So thank you again, Lucas, for stopping by.
Hey,
We'll
thanks for
definitely have to
having
do
me.
it again.